The blonde hummed in a happy melody to himself as he bounced around the turrets. What are you doing? The gruff boar-headed boy asked. Picking flowers for Yin-chan. You know the old hag's gonna be mad if you were in her garden, he warned. But Zenitsu sneezed, smiled, didn't waver. What else are flowers for except being presented to beautiful girls? Feeding bees? Bees eat flowers, or at least the center part of them. That's what they're for. Well, I guess it's sort of true. Zenitsu tilted his head as he slightly loosened lopsided bouquet. You know what I mean. Need a hand, Tanjiro? Your voice caught their ears, and all three of them looked up. I think I've got it under control. Thanks for asking, though. I appreciate it. The gentle young man had obviously offered to polish the group's sword, but he appeared to be having trouble finding a proper method of action for Inosuke's sharpened sword, separated blades. He was sitting at them puzzled, and you approached. Hi, Pinchan. Zenitsu always barked out at you, or it was really closer to a shriek. Hi, Zenitsu. He smiled politely at his stiff appearance, and his face immediately filled with color. Here. He shoved his handful of flowers towards you with such speed that a few yellow petals fell off. Oh, these are for me? You took them from his shaking hands, and he shut his eyes tightly and nodded. And you picked them yourself? Cue the nod. Aw, thank you, Zenitsu. You cast a sidelong glance to the elevated pile of dirt next to Inosuke. I kind of wish you hadn't ransacked our hostess garden on my behalf, but it was still very sweet of you. Tanjiro smiled. He couldn't help but appreciate how you were thoughtful of nature. Yeah? The kind warmth in your voice seemed to encourage the blonde. I'm glad you like them. They just reminded me of you because they're pretty. He swung his hands in a bashful sort of way, and you held back a chuckle. In your experience, Zenitsu had two settings, extremely high-strung and puddled of buttermelt, and he had somehow just made a seamless transition from the other one. Do you want to go for a walk with me? It's a nice day for the water gardens, and I wanted to talk to you about something. Okay. You shrugged and hooked arms with him. What about? He glanced back at Tanjiro and started hesitantly walking out of earshot. I was wondering if you thought about my proposal at all. You made a face. Don't you remember what I said the other night? I do, but I've been thinking. Money is, fleeting, don't you think? Tanjiro looked up at this. I suppose. And there's more forms of support than just finances. There are things like loyalty and fatherhood. Or I guess I'm trying to say love is its own form of currency, right? And wouldn't you rather be rich in that? Zenitsu instantly cursed himself. That was probably not even close to the original. Why did Tanjiro have to take his notes away? That's a very wise thing to say, Zenitsu. You are a true romantic, aren't you? It still worked. He donned a big, crooked smile, a crooked grin, when he felt your grip tighten on his arm. Though he couldn't fully relish in your praise, while he felt deep red, staring daggers into his back from across the courtyard. Tanjiro's lips curved in annoyance, but that was precisely when the other boy's voice thought aloud. Someone really ought to put a stop to this. Tanjiro followed Inosuke's gaze, or at least where he estimated it to be under his boar mask, and realized they were both thinking the same thing. It's not our place to interfere, but if I'm being honest, I do wish something would. I don't want Finn to get in over her head just because she I don't want Finn to get over her head just because she's nice. Sabotage. Inosuke's gruff voice stated thoroughly. Oh my god. Threateningly. And Tanjiro could smell the mischief in his aura. No, that's not what I meant. Maybe we can. But the boy jumped to his feet and insisted again. Sabotage. No, Inosuke, that would be immoral. If we just talk to her, we might be able to. Sabotage. The young man didn't even sound angry, just excited. Tanjiro finally sighed in defeat, and oddly didn't want to be cruel to Zenitsu, but even he had to admit, despite him being an overall nice guy, he could be a bit predatory at times. I guess a minor distraction couldn't hurt. What do you have in mind? On a scheduled bench, you sat down enjoying the lush view of the gardens. The small talk had all but floated away on the ripples of the koi pond, and your blonde companion was starting to fidget. So, now that we're alone, that is, he scooted a little closer to you. There's something that I wanted to ask. Whoosh! Oh, that's loud, sorry. Okay, don't mind that. Yours and Zenitsu's hair flew towards you, and you flinched in surprise, only to notice Tanjiro and Inosuke appeared, one on each side of your parental view. I think I won that one. Fat chance, Kenpachiro. You ate my dust. What are you guys doing? He raised an eyebrow when Tanjiro turned around. Oh, Finn and Zenitsu. We didn't see you there. He lied and scratched the back of his neck with a nervous chuckle. We were just training, right, Inosuke? The pig mask bobbled up and down in agreement. In the water gardens? Yeah, well, dodging obstacle builds agility. Had you been looking for Tanjiro's crooked smile, would have been easy away his guilt. I guess that makes sense. Race you around once more, Kenpachiro. Okay, ready? Tanjiro crouched in a prepared position. Set, go. You watched in bewilderment as Tanjiro sprinted away and Inosuke just stood there. He approached the two of you on the bench and Zenitsu tensed in aspiration. Before either of you had the opportunity to ask questions, Inosuke began to pose in various positions. What do you think? Insert some hilarious bizarre of your front name. I'm sorry. Ain't my strong muscles impressive? Why did I do that voice? He had then proceeded to flex his bare chest and arms. You didn't have to see under his mask to know that he was wearing a proud grin. But then you suddenly couldn't see at all, as Zenitsu had suddenly shielded your eyes with his hands. You idiot, put some clothes on. The blonde blocked at the young man's half-naked form. He knew he'd never have the confidence, no, the decency to display himself that way in front of a lady. It was now that Tanjiro arrived again, panting cheeks a cute shade of pink from expiration. Why didn't you start, Inosuke? Did something happen? Inosuke pulled him to the side and began whispering something. It was blatant and suspicious enough to queer your curiosity, and Zenitsu seemed to be growing more impatient by the second from their constant interference. As I was saying, he produced clearly in the direction of the troublesome duo before turning back to you. Unfortunately, you were too much wrapped up in the nearby conversation. Inosuke put up a hand and whispered loudly. Okay, step 2. Divide and conquer. Wait, Inosuke, you didn't say anything about that step. But before Tanjiro could intervene, the boy took off, making a beeline straight for you two. Zenitsu appeared to be abnormally prepared for this. His palms were flat against the stone bench, and he was braced to move. Not falling for that again, he mumbled as the muscular teen drew nearer. In the thin neck of time, the blonde launched himself straight up in the air, fooling the other's plan. Ha ha! Or so he thought. Huh? A particular occurrence had happened earlier this week. You and Zenitsu were peacefully sharing lunch on the terrace when Inosuke appeared out of nowhere. He proceeded to, unprovoked, pick the blonde up and just throw him. That was right before he could take a bite out of the food of your spoon. Wicked, and ran off. You made sure to check Zenitsu's vitals before allowing yourself to laugh. But this time, Inosuke had changed his game. It wasn't Zenitsu he had gone for. As he descended from his jump, you couldn't help but laugh at horrified reasons as you were swept off in Inosuke's arms. Hey, wait! He immediately began a hot pursuit of the one who just kidnapped with his scolded his date. Inosuke, how dare you interrupt me when I was about to say something so profound? No girl likes a snap, Miyatsu. Inosuke hollered back, and you let out a laugh as the wind blew through your hair. His strong arms lifted you so effortlessly, but Zenitsu was gaining ground at the alarming speed. You had even lost sight of Tanjiro at this point. Just before he darted forwards to close the gap, Inosuke dodged, rolling a corner with flawless agility. That was when you gasped. He had made a miscalculation, and there was no way, at the current momentum, that Inosuke was going to be able to avoid colliding with the eek. You braced yourself for the impaling pain, but then your stomach dropped. Just before impact, Inosuke managed to toss you upwards. A loud thud echoed in your ears, and you winced before hitting the ground. Fortunately, a pair of arms caught you. Are you all right? Tanjiro's concerned voice met your eardrums. He must have managed to circle around the house from the other direction to catch you. His hold was different from the firm, positiveness way Inosuke carried to you, and also the smoothing vice grip of Zenitsu. It was gentle, caring, but also equally obscure. I'm fine, Inosuke, though. Tanjiro jogged you over to the boy laying flat on his back. Inosuke, are you okay? You reached out only to find yourself still trapped in Tanjiro's hold. Tanjiro, you can put me down now. Of course. He blushed but immediately obeyed. Let me go get some bandages. He ran off while you knelt by the bruised boy and pulled off his mask. Are you okay, Fin-chan? Zenitsu quickly arrived at your side. That was so sparsity of him. You could have even been oh my god, I said image. Injured. He fussed around you, hunting for any signs of harm, but you waved him off. I'm okay, but Inosuke hurt himself. You were certain he must have been knocked silly once he wasn't objecting and saying that he was fine. He was just staring dazed up at the clear blue sky. A red welt seemed to be forming on his forehead by the second. Oh, you poor thing. He groaned slightly and tried to sit up, but you held him in place by his shoulders. Don't try to move yet. Here, you can rest your head on my lap. That should be more comfortable. You slid your legs under his head. There you go. Does it hurt? Seeing you cuddle Inosuke with a soft voice and stroked his hair made Zenitsu pound. What's the big deal? It's just his head. Not like it hit anything vital to him. Zenitsu! Okay, you had to admit that comment was hilarious, but you still needed to scold him for it. Inosuke certainly got a concussion. This could be serious. He hung his head immediately. You're right, Fin-chan. That was insensitive of me. I'm sorry, Inosuke. But the green-eyed boy didn't acknowledge him. He just stared blankly up at you. Here, let me help get him to the bedroom. Hopefully Tanjiro went to fetch the doctor.